So obviously 2 things on Saturday, which is today. Horses train great, and absolutely fantastic training day for the most part. For those of you who watch our drone day, obviously there was a bit of an incident in set number 11. Miss Meringue got tangled up with Sunshine and May a little bit. Obviously a number of people from the barn area come out and was helping. The problem is that Miss Meringue, it appeared on the video that I saw, Sunshine and May, Kevin took up a little bit. James run up on his back, and as James tried to exit to go around him, she ended up catching the wheel and putting her foot right up in the fork of the jog cart. So jog cart has the frame, the fork would be what the wheel's attached to, right? She got her foot right through the fork area. I've only ever seen that happen maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. So it's a problem because it doesn't just come back out. It takes a fair amount of force to get a horse's hoof through that area. Think of the width of a wheel of a jog cart, which is that much. The width of Miss Meringue's foot would actually be a little wider. You wouldn't think it would get through, but with the torque there, with the speed and force, it can get in there. So what you have to do is really, one, hope the horse doesn't hurt itself, keep the horse down, take the jog cart wheel off. It is, I don't want to say a miracle because I've never actually seen a horse get hurt doing this, but it's miraculous in my head how a horse can be hung up in that position and not injure themselves. It is truly remarkable. So anyway, Danny wasn't in the set, and a number of people rushed up to help out if they could. I walked up, and they were working feverishly. Davey Boughton really saved the day, and John Evans just really helped out. Davey what had to happen was, as they got the wheel undone, the wheel bent from the pressure of her leg being in there, and they couldn't get the fork out of the jog cart. So they literally had to cut all the spokes, half of the wheel spokes out, one half, and kind of maneuver her foot down like a Rubik's Cube, maneuver it down and out like a puzzle. And it was impressive, to say the least. So as I got over there, I felt terrible too. As I get over there, I looked, and I've seen horses go down, and I've seen horses get hung up in a similar fashion before. And the problem is that these are big animals. They're scared, they're terrified, they're thrashing around sometimes. This filly was pretty smart. She behaved herself. She understood probably that there was a problem. We were trying to help, and she didn't thrash around that much, but she did a little bit. And what you have to do is kind of keep their head down and kneel on their neck. So as I got there, James was kneeling on her neck, but she was getting a little anxious, and it looked like he needed a little more help. So I went to walk over to help him, and I noticed that Danny was pretty close to the filly's back legs. He was trying to help with the jog cart, get the jog cart in a position where it's not torquing on her leg. But he was a little close to the horse, and I thought to myself immediately, I'm like, Danny's a little close. But I didn't know if he could move, to be honest, and I didn't say anything. I got on the filly's head, I knelt on her neck with James, and it was like 4 seconds later. She started to thrash a bit, kicked her leg out, hit Danny in the ankle, and broke his ankle. So now Danny's on the track. He's tough. Danny's tough, but he's in pain. And because of all this, Erin, who helps out with the feed, she feeds at night and is one of our caretakers, takes care of Grey is the New Red, Eternity Road, who else does Erin have? Fox Valley, Britska. Like, Erin's got some of our good horses. And she got scared a little bit and backed up, I believe, or got shoved backwards maybe from the horse, tripped over something, and fell on her wrist and hurt her wrist. So now we got a horse who's out of danger now, standing up, and 2 caretaker, trainer and a caretaker, on the ground, injured. So, could this have been avoidable? Yes. But they made the word accidents because they had to. Or they would have just called them circumstances that could have been avoidable. They're all avoidable. They're accidents. And I was just talking to Allison Moore, who's Danny's girlfriend and for all intents and purposes wife. And Amy was talking to Aaron, and they're both on home now. They're both home now and feeling better. Yes? Oh. And feeling better. And they'll make a recovery, but it'll take time. Thankfully, Danny, unless I'm mistaken, Danny's broken ankle wasn't in the joint. So, and maybe I'm wrong, but I believe the tibia, so the front of the thing. Nevertheless, extremely painful. So Danny's tough. He'll heal up. I've seen Danny hurt a number of times. He's tough, but he's got bad luck. And Erin hopefully will. Not hopefully, she will heal up. So a little bit, in 5 years, I've only ever seen 2 or 3 incidents where horses got in accidents or incidents at the stable. Coincidentally, at least 2 of them were the same way, with the same horse, within a month. So I guess somebody said Miss Meringue's got bad luck. I said Miss Meringue has got the best luck of any horse I've ever seen. Twice she was in extremely compromising positions and was professional enough to behave. So very happy and lucky in that regard. So she'll make a full recovery within 4 or 5 days. Got a few little scrapes and bruises, but she'll be fine. Danny will heal up. Aaron will heal up. And it put a bit of a damper on what otherwise would have been an absolutely fantastic day. I pick up my phone at noon. Here's a press release saying that Charlottetown Driving Park will be opening the first part of June for racing. Fantastic. We needed somebody to actually say, yes, we are going to race on this date. I know Kentucky said that Churchill Downs is going to racing. How's this? We needed a standardbred track to say we will be racing on this date. And Prince Edward Island, my native home, is the first ones to step up and say they'll be racing the 1st of June, or they're planning to. So that is great. Great news for us. And then throughout the day, the training sets just went so good. I highlighted some horses. I'll talk about set by set in the opening because I want to highlight some of the horses. Obviously, there are going to be some movements in the top 10 list overall from what went on today. The top 10 list from today is going to look quite a bit different than it's looked for a while. And then I want to talk about all the stables, all the horses, both 2 and 3 years old, as we always do. So we'll kick it off looking at set number 1. I made a late change and I opted off Really Blue Chip to go with Path of Totality. Path of Totality, if you remember, 2 training sets ago, she was making a noise, and Kevin had said, listen, you get along with her, you know her well, she's comfortable with you, can you just keep going with her? Which I'm happy to. I love Path of Totality. It's a beautiful filly. And what he did do today, though, is put an open bridle on Path of Totality. So if you look, when I cleared the lead, she drifted out, looked at the gate like she was going to pull up. In the turn, she was wandering out. And when Mario came with Really Blue Chip, I was happy, got covered up. And then, or was it Time? No, it was Time Houdini. And then Really Blue Chip came and covered us both up. I sat third, and we come out of the turn. Now, when you are really smoking, like racehorse speed on the end of the mile, from the head of the lane to the wire, it's incredibly hard to make up ground. You literally have to be going quite a bit faster than the horses you're in with. So when I moved her to the outside of the track, I was surprised how much kick she had. We talked about how powerful she was and how incredibly talented she feels, but for her to have the kick she had on the end of the mile here was really something else. And Path of Totality did just get up to beat Really Blue Chip at the wire. I told you after the sets how fast they went. I believe, don't get me wrong, but I believe we said 2:13, 2:12, somewhere around there. But both Really Blue Chip first over, cleared to the lead, and then dug in down the lane. We were making it down the lane. Time Houdini was on the outside. James fished Compass Rose DC down to the inside. She was flying late also. Just a great finish to a great set. And then you just had Harness AM was stayed kind of 5th behind, bottled up behind that bunch, and then Susie K and Rosa and Versatile, who are decent horses. But I don't think the caliber of Really Blue Chip or Path of Totality or Compass Rose DC. Nevertheless, there's nothing wrong with that. These are legit 3-year-old fillies. So set 1 was fantastic. I was the victor in set 1 with Path of Totality. Really Blue Chip just got up and beat her at the wire, and then a closing Compass Rose DC and Time Houdini 3rd and 4th. Second set, I felt like $1 million. I had put Desperado in with some of our best horses. Now I'm just trying to look quick. We did have other good pacers in other sets, but the bulk of our order was right here. We had Blue Monk, who I've touted as one of the best horses in our barn, our 2-year-old division for quite a while. Him and Beef and Cheddar flip-flop all the time. First Glance has been doing good things. We're working with him. I know somebody said today, he's throwing his head, he's still acting up. The only thing that happened, yes, he's throwing his head a little bit, and we're working with him to try and find a way where we have him under complete control, but he's comfortable enough not to throw his head. Today we tried a different martingale. I think a combination of the two that we had on might go a little further for him, so we're going to start there. As far as the making a break, it's easy to explain. He broke a hobble. Him and Beef and Cheddar broke hobbles today in the last turn. These are training hobbles, but they're decent hobbles, and I'd said to both Danny and Mario, I think what we'll do is just go and buy them new hobbles now. It's pretty evident to me anyway, they're likely both going to make the races, so there's no reason not to. So I think some new hobbles in the future for both Beef and Cheddar and First Glance. So we'll pitch those lines out today. Aside from that, moving to the front was Blue Monk. I cleared to the front with Desperado quick. Blue Monk came, I let him go, sat on his back, and I'm sure Chris thought he had everything well in hand around the last turn. Braemar come looking for the lead, and Chris actually parked him, which, not good for him. As I said to Johnny after, he's going to get parked sometime in his life, so he showed a real a fair amount of tenacity and intelligence today, Braemar. Johnny said, I just moved him. He wasn't hot or anything. I said, fine, that's fine. He can sit out there. I guarantee you, when he puts muscle on over the next 60, 90 days, there won't be that many horses going to pace away from Braemar. So Braemar was on the outside. I was on the inside with Desperado. And then James and Kevin, Adrenaline Rush and War We Was Up, were sitting back a little bit in 4th and 5th. Am I missing someone? Adrenaline Rush. First Glance had made a break. Beef and Cheddar made a break in the last turn. That was 2 of them, and the 5 of them set in the first 5. So as we come out of the last turn, Johnny was out a little bit with Braemar, and I just snuck right through the inside. And as soon as I gave Desperado some clear sailing and called on him, hit him a swat in the tail and roared at him, he was gone. And Blue Monk was going all he could. Chris had him in gear. Let's put it that way. Down the lane, and Desperado run him down halfway down the lane and just got up and beat him at the wire. I told everybody, I said to James after, James said, I don't want to hear about it, because everybody that goes with Desperado says, he's okay. And I've touted Desperado for quite a while and said, he is much better than okay. I don't know if he's a stake horse, but if we have one, he could definitely be in the works. As far as, I'm not talking in Ohio, stake horse would be a sire stakes horse as opposed to a Buckeye horse. Same for Ontario Gold Grassroots. We're hoping that Blue Monk, War We Was Up, Adrenaline Rush, we'd love to have lots of gold horses, but it really just depends on other people's horses, right? How good are everybody else's horses? And when I look at our horses, Desperado just is a very, very nice horse. 2 moves today, for those of you who said he can't make multiple moves, James. 2 moves today, and sprinting under the wire to get up and win. Mile in 2:17 last half and 1:04 last quarter, and it had to be in 30 and a bit, 31 seconds. Just a very, very impressive mile and a half today for Desperado. Third set, we had I'm a Lovely Lady, My Jazz, Rosa, and Why Not. Just for Me and You, a 3-year-old was in there, and Frilly Fringes. I think there was one other 3-year-old in there, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know how accurate this list is. Just for Me and You had cleared over to the front, going past the start, or the 3/8 pole half, past the half-mile marker. And I removed Frilly Fringes, and James had asked me, so why'd you remove her? Why wouldn't you just sit behind Harry? Because I knew what was going to happen, right? I could see where James was sitting. James was going to come first over, and we were going to sprint down the lane. Now, I keep telling you guys, I want to see these horses in compromising positions. I want to see them uncomfortable. And I knew Frilly Fringes, I really thought I'm a Lovely Lady probably couldn't out-trot me down the lane the way that the training set worked out. Now, I did use her a couple of times. Used her at the start to get her to the front. Used her again to clear off the lead at the half. And then sat in, and then around the last turn, James, he wheeled right up in my rearview mirror with I'm a Lovely Lady, and I knew we were going to be doing some sprinting. And this is the thing, I know everybody's like, well, the 3-year-old's going to win. From the head of the lane to the wire, racing's racing, and I knew that it was going to be Frilly Fringes and I'm a Lovely Lady. I was going to be absolutely thoroughly shocked if Just for Me and You just ducked to the inside and blew by us. It wasn't going to happen. And Frilly Fringes opened up a quick half length, and I think she kind of sat on herself a little bit, right? She opened up that half a length and then said, that's enough. And there's no quitting, I'm a lovely lady. And she run her down halfway down the lane, just got up and beat me, and then made a break getting into the turn. And I told James, here's the thing. After the wire, when you've been going that fast, the horses get a little tentative coming into the turn. And horses that are talented enough, smart enough, and understand it, if you put them in gear and keep them in gear, they'll rock through the turn. If you let them hesitate, they can do exactly what and she's done that multiple times. She did it on Mario one day. I don't know if she did it on me. She's done it on Steve quite a bit too. You just have to keep her to her task. And James let his foot off the accelerator a little bit. She hesitated going into the turn. She rolled off. But Frilly Fringes come back on, and I felt like she was a little bit angry. But that was good for her. As I said to James after, now she knows, right? Now she knows. And these horses want to win. Some of them, these are competitive athletes also. And as I said to him, I said, now she'll try it as hard as she can from the head of the lane to the wire. There'll be no letting up, and I think that's important for obvious reasons. So I'm a lovely lady beat me fair and square and went a huge mile to do it. I went a tough mile too. Two moves in the mile. Two hard moves in the mile, and then just got picked off the wire. Nevertheless, a very good trotting set in there. I'm a lovely lady and Frilly Fringes were the standouts. Then we went to set 4. Now, I had Italian Grit in there. I was in with some pacers. I knew I was in a little tough, and we were going to be making it. I didn't know what he was ready to do right yet. Better's Hope was in there. I knew Kevin moved him to the front early. And then Momo came. No Free Lunch came. There was lots of movement. And then all of a sudden, Harry stuck first over with Captain's Maid. Now, if you had made me wager at the mile marker with a half a mile to go how Captain's Maid was going to do in the first over position against Momo and Well and Down following her and the rest of these horses in here, I would have said sheepishly she might be in trouble. Harry said in the last turn she just felt like she was getting a little tired. She's a little fat butterball now. And he said he just tapped her, and he swatted her one. And he said, I'm telling you what, I snapped her one over the tail, and she was gone. And they were making it down the lane. I was on the far outside, and James, the Well and Down thing, that's solved now. I know exactly what's going on. Her hobbles are still way too long, and we'll take those up. And I suspect that will be the last time you see Well and Down make a break in the middle of the straightaway. It's just ridiculous, unacceptable, and it's pretty obvious when you look at her. I was right beside him when he made a break. You could see, and then after he come back pacing, her hobbles are just simply too long. So we'll pull them in. Pull them in a little bit. What about Italian Grit? For Mark out there, Mark Adams out there, we've been waiting to see where this colt's where he's gonna land and what he's gonna do. He was flying on the end of it and coming to 2 pacers that were making it. So a great mile for Italian Grit. Captain's Maid, take nothing away from her. She went just about as tough a trip as she's ever been in her life right now, and still run down Momo, who's a pretty good filly. Run down Momo to just beat her at the wire. A very, very, very good set in there. Next was set number 5. I had Barbie's Crown. Amy wanted to go with her filly, wanted to go with One My Heart Hanover, so I said, fine. Put her in there. She was in with a softer crowd, but at the same time, I just wanted Amy to go easy with her, right? I wanted the filly herself to have an easy mile. So I ended up in the 2-hole behind Perfect Record. Danny put Perfect Record on the front. I was in the 2-hole. As we worked our way into the final turn, we had added Set the Mood to this set, and he caused a little bit of a kerfuffle in the last turn. Made a couple of breaks in the turns. I think his hobbles might be a little long, Mario. Maybe? We had just let his hobbles out a couple of weeks ago, and he's made a couple of breaks since then in the turns. It's hard to believe he needs a hobble as tight as he was wearing them, so I don't blame Mario for putting them out, but they may need to come back in. Possibly. We'll see. Amy wheeled up on the outside with One My Heart Hanover, and she's running in a little bit. Just kind of got to set her up for the turn. As a driver, I love driving her, but I could see if you're not a driver, it could be a little problem for you. And I could see her running in on Amy a little bit. And the last thing Amy wants to do is see the filly make a break, right? Amy does not want to make a break with her, so she was extra cautious with her. We come out of the turn. We're all trotting good. I shot through the middle with Barbie's Crown. I thought Danny won it. Danny said that he thought Amy won it, but because we're married, she's my wife, I'm going to say Amy won it. Perfect Record was fantastic today. We haven't talked about, here's a good day to talk about horses we haven't talked about in a while, right? Momo, Captain's Maid, Italian Grit. Haven't talked about those guys for the most part in a long while. Italian Grit a little bit, but Momo and Captain's Maid not that much. Then in the next set, you can see Barbie's Crown's definitely coming on. Perfect Record hasn't been spoken about in months, at least 2 months. And was very good. You saw Roy Hill make a break afterwards. James just said he was really revvy, and we were just trying to keep him bottled up because he just got his curb crowd a couple of weeks ago. This was his first training trip back. Nevertheless, a great training trip for him. And then the Fat Cobra and Rito Sunshine, Harry said and Chris said, were interfered with when Mario made a break in the last turn. Not a big deal there. They were fine. And Sweet Ambitions actually looked good. If you go back and watch the video, Sweet Ambitions had a good training trip today also. So that was set number 5. Set number 6. Can't Muscle Me, Lincoln Hanover. Tipsy and Dixie, that's my girl, Northern Blizzard. I went with Northern Blizzard. Wheeled him over to the front end at the 3/8 mark. Maybe just past the first half, maybe. I'm not sure, somewhere around there. Danny sat behind me, Can't Muscle Me. Now, I watched the video. Danny didn't know why she made a break, but you can see plain as day, for me, why she made a break. If you watch closely right before she runs, you can see her gait get a little shuffly. That's her scrubbing on her knee a little bit. I think when he just went to put her in gear, I think she just touched her knee a little bit. And sometimes for horses that wear trotting boots behind and a knee boot or two up front, when they touch behind, and it's a bit of a chicken or the egg thing, when they touch behind, they actually bounce off a little bit and they'll interfere behind afterwards if they touch their knee, or vice versa. If they hit a trotting boot behind, they're more apt to narrow that gate up a little bit and maybe get into a knee. I believe that's exactly what happened with Can't Muscle Me. I believe she just interfered with herself just as I went to step on the gas with Northern Blizzard. Now, I've been telling you guys for a long time how fast Northern Blizzard was, how powerful he was, but I couldn't really prove it to you. All my testimonials, for the most part, about Northern Blizzard came from off-drone training days. So the pessimistic person in the crowd may say, where's the proof? So the proof was today. We come about 30-2 on the end of it in a jog cart, and Northern Blizzard was smoking down the lane. James said he come a half and about 103 and a bit with That's My Girl. He said, I never really asked her. He said, I just let her chase you down the lane. Tried to chase me down the lane. And then Lincoln Hanover, who was the top of the list last week, was closing hard into that last half. Also, they were good. Tipsy and Dixie was just a bit back. Harry's just got the big girl in Idol, I believe. He loves going with her, and to be honest, she's been doing everything right for so long. Why mess with it? I know how fast she is, and I know she's got lots inside of her. Let's get lots of confidence under this filly, and then cut her loose at the appropriate time. Certainly no concerns about Tipsy and Dixie for me, and then Can't Muscle Me made that little break. Pretty sure I know what was going on there. We can work on that. That won't be a problem. The problem with horses like her is she got a little grabby in the 2-hole, and when I go to step on it and get away from her, she tries to lunge forward with me. That's when you see pick, and run. Whereas if it was a gradual acceleration and then right up into top speed, you probably wouldn't see a ripple. It was just that accelerator, that quick accelerating move that really got her into herself. You can see it. If you go back and watch, you'll see what I'm talking about. Right before she makes that break, you can see her just put a couple little shuffles in. And I guess I can't prove it to you, but I know I've seen the shuffles. I've sat behind them. I've seen them up close and personal, and I can assure you that's exactly what she did. So that was set number 6. Set 7 was a little bit of a mixed bag of 2- and 3-year-olds. This was a set where we had a little incident ourselves with Beach Bum BB, little atrial fibrillation. Now, the vet checked her over. I pulled her up when I realized what was going on. The vet checked her over after, said little AFib. Just get some electrolytes and vitamins into her. What he thinks happened is maybe she caught a little virus. Her electrolyte levels dipped a little bit, and that can screw up their heart rhythm sometimes. So I asked him, what do you think could cause it? And he told me what he thought, the electrolyte issue. And will it return? Likely not. He thinks it's pretty anomalous, that it's not. It's just something that happens once in a while. These are athletes. So we're going to treat her up all week and then see how she feels going into next week and make a game time decision if she's going to train the same way. Muscle Chrome was good, ended up closing in good. Brilliant Corners, cut out some of the mile and ended up hanging in there pretty good for a horse that has been rather ignorant and horrible all year. And Brilliant Corners has been really, really good the last 2 weeks. Danny's done a fantastic job with him. Then you saw Rose Run Valiant. Look, he was struggling a little bit in the hobbles. I asked the blacksmith to go down and take all the toe off him. Way too much toe up front. I think he's a trotter that actually needs a lot less, which is the opposite of most trotters. If you want to get them balanced a little bit, put a little toe on your trotter up front. This guy, I think, is the opposite. He doesn't need any toe up front. He hasn't trained awesome in 2 weeks, or good in 2 weeks, awesome in 3 weeks. shod 3.5 weeks ago. So I suspect we're onto something there. We took the toe off Rose Run Valiant. Anyway, 2 horses that really stuck out like a sore thumb in there were the 2 2-year-olds. At Glare AM, Johnny said to me 2 things. He said, I didn't see Mario coming. Mario said it wouldn't have mattered if you did. I think you may or may not be correct. I'll give you that statement. But I thought from the turn I was in that Mario got there, but when you watch the video, Mario got the old deuceroo, I think, again. Johnny thought he won, Mario thought he won, but if you look at the video, now it's from behind, it's hard to tell. I'm looking at jog cart wheels and bridles and heads, and it looks to me like Johnny hung on. Regardless, I don't care if he hung on or not. Walk on the Moon looked absolutely fantastic today. Best mile of his life. He looked truly good. Now, this is a mile where he stayed in most of the mile. Glare AM was 3 wide at one point, controlled the mile, looked to finish them off. Johnny just buggy riding down the lane, and here come Walk on the Moon. Like, you know, here he comes to get like you shot out of a cannon. And they were moving on the end of it. Like, it's one thing to have a horse trotting faster than the other horses, just because he's trotting faster than them. But when the other horses are going a good clip and he's accelerating past them, that's an exceptional amount of speed for a young horse. And Walk on the Moon looked great today. Mario looked good with him, and Glare AM looked awesome also. Johnny and Mario did a fantastic job there. On to set number 8. Johan made a little break, and I said I just lost him getting into the point of the turn. It's tough when you're going out and you're jogging 3 or 4 laps and turning and go a mile in 2:12 in a jog cart. I told you it's not an easy thing to do. And Johan needs 2 trips. So I said to Jason after, I shouldn't have lost him where I lost him. He just put one little step in and kind of lost himself. Where if he had been thawed out a little bit and had a trip into him, I highly doubt that would have happened. So it's an easy fix for me. Just go a mile with Johan beforehand. Need Your Opinion came first over and gave it to them, made them like it today. Miss Brampton Beast was added to this set with Kevin. I had caught back in Hometown Boys, and I'm going to catch flack for the Hometown Boys thing. Listen, Hometown Boys is never going to look good training in a group of horses at a farm. He's not. What I'm trying to do here is keep his muscle on him and build more muscle on him. We'll put him in with some 2-year-olds and try and get some confidence in him next week. He needs these training trips, and I apologize to the people that own him, but he is not going to look good in them. Put him in a race situation, this horse will look much better. He's already taken a mark. He did well in his qualifiers. I believe you really just have to take the training sets of Hometown Boys with a grain of salt. It's just my personal feeling. Giddy Up Max was very good. James said Spend That Money was fantastic. Inland Beach, I believe, ended up second, but Need Your Opinion was awesome today. So a couple of these horses. Hometown Boys, another horse probably could benefit from going 2 trips. So Johan and Hometown Boys will be going 2 trips from now on. Then into the 9th set, we had Stacy Hanover to the vet the other day, but didn't do anything to her. Somehow, just going to the vet clinic, standing there, getting back on the trailer and coming home, did wonders. She was fantastic today. By far the best she's ever been. And you can tell she's getting better. You can see her ears. She's getting more comfortable, more confident. And it takes a good horse to run down Stacy Hanover from the head of the lane to the wire. Now, Tanzanite Tricks was sitting behind me. I know Johnny angled out a couple of times, and I just called on her, and she was there. And today, just the way she felt, the way she did her work, her composure on the track, her body language, she just felt better. The best I've ever seen her today. So, and it's not that she's ever been bad, but Stacy Hanover's had her moments. Today was on the positive side. She was really, really good. Tanzanite Tricks, great job from Johnny. This horse looked good again. He said she wasn't perfect, but the track was deep and she got flip-flops on. I think we're just going to have to deal with the fact that some days she's not going to look perfect at Tamiko Training Center, but today she looked good. Horse that did not look good, a few of them in here. Cambridge Star run. Jason had a hood on him. Jason, stop putting the ear hood on Cambridge Star. I'll go with him next week. But Cambridge Star, I would rather put a snake cord in his mouth than a hood on him. He just doesn't focus. And when you put him in gear, Jason went to put him in gear and he hesitated. And he never should. And he's a decent little horse. Like, it's not like he's a killer. He's a decent little horse, but he's better than that. And he made a little break today. We'll rectify that next week. Girls with Swirls made a couple of breaks. Danny thinks he wants to take the flip-flops off. I told him, go ahead. So Girls with Swirls going to get the flip-flops off. I'm Hell on Wheels. Here's the problem. I believe I might have made a mistake here. I don't remember asking the blacksmith to put a diamond toe on I'm Hell on Wheels, but it does sound like a conversation I would have. Now, Mario said that this was the first time he'd seen diamond toe on him. And he was making breaks today, but he wasn't sore. He pulled up fine. He had a bad day. For whatever reason, it could be my fault. It could have been his fault. Didn't appear to be Mario's fault, but He had a bad day today. Time Hill on Wheels has his own little issues that he deals with all the time. And you know what? It's been a while since he had a bad day. I'm going to give him a pass just because I can, and I will. And working on a beach bod. James's horse was all right. So Stacy Hanover Tanzanite Tricks were awesome. Cambridge Star looked pitiful and made a break. We'll work on that. Girls with Swirls made a couple little breaks in the same spot. We'll work on that. I'm Hill on Wheels. Just call it a bad week. And then working on a beach bod was good for James. Then we went out with set number 10. Went a little too much. Mario got loose on the front end with Sunshine and Shade. The good news is Sunshine and Shade looks like a good horse now. He's put 100 pounds on since his qualifier, most of that muscle, and he looks exceptionally good. Now, Arctic Force, I came from way back, first over, and came right to him down the lane. I didn't want to go by him. I wanted to see the fight in Sunshine and Shade, and I saw it today. Arctic Force was very good. Make no mistake, that was a big mile from Arctic Force. And then you have Capistrano a little bit back in third, and the other three were good. Sunshine's Finest, Maintenance Man, and Brushcut were all good. Brushcut was back a bit, still come a half 101 in piece. Kevin was happy with him, and so am I. Some of these horses, I said, Angie, get Illinois opened up. Take your pick. Set 11 was the set with the incident. Now, here's the scoop. Aside from everything that went on, at the start, when Kevin moved his horse, I think he just kind of moved his whip to tap. It wasn't his fault. He just moved his whip up to tap Sunshine and Shade, and you can see Argento throw his head and make a break. This was the only horse I didn't want to see make a break today because he's been training great all week. Makes a break, I catch up, no problem. And if you see where I'm at, I'm about to cut him loose. Let's Roll on his first over. Miss Meringue is in the 2-hole. Sunshine and Maze on the front end. I'm about to cut him loose down the backstretch, and then it happens. James gets up into Sunshine and Maze wheel. Jesse Balboa gets hung up in behind them a little bit. Now we're loose, but I'm waiting to see if the horses get up and just get out of the way so we can finish our set, because Argento feels like $1 million now. Nope. I look. Still down. Okay, pull up. We pulled up on the outside of the track. So I didn't get to show off Argento. Argento is a vastly different horse than he was last week. You may have to take my word for it today, but I'm telling you, this horse went 1:32 the other day, was going to go 1:28 today, no problem, after making a break. Should he have shied away from Kevin's whip? No, of course he shouldn't. We can work on that stuff. But the mechanics of trotting, much, much, much better from Argento. So if you're sitting out there and you own a piece of Argento, have no concerns. I was very happy with him. Probably, I think, his best strides of his entire life were taken this week at Tamiko Training Center. On to set 12. We didn't know if we'd go. You guys know that. We waited a good half an hour. We had to call an ambulance for Danny, right? He broke his ankle. They had to come and scoop him off the track. And I'm like, geez, should we go? And, all right, we'll go. I go down to Jason's barn to go with Mama Knows Best. Jason was up in the top barn with me. We both walked down to the bottom barn. Walk in the barn. Where's Mama? What are you talking about? I said, where's Mama Knows Best? She's in the set. Oh, I thought we weren't going. I thought we canceled. I said, no, we never canceled. Get her out. Oh, yeah. We go to look. They'd already fed her lunch. She ate half of her lunch. So I was obviously pissed off. A little angry at the time. But you can't train. You can't let a horse eat half a can of feed, of a mash, so it's more than a half a can, and then go out and train. You can't do that. So Mama Knows Best was saved by the feed tub this week. I'll go with her starting Monday or Tuesday. It wasn't anybody's fault. I guess it was an obvious question, but it should have been a question that was asked, not assumed. Are we going with the last set? I want to make sure the horses get trained. Even if the drone wasn't coming out, I wanted the horses trained. But thank you to Curtis's friend Cam, who stayed 30-40 minutes. And then we went with that last set, and Broadway Roll was just chopping sticks. She was fantastic. I don't even know what that means, but she was very, very, very good. Just breezing along. We come to the head of the lane. Fox Valley Britsko was as quiet as I've ever seen him, right? Never seen him that quiet. And James, if you watch him, James watches him in the turns. And he told me after, he said, I didn't want to say anything, but I forgot to put... Now, remember, Erin is on her way to the hospital now, and Fox Valley Britska's her horse. So they win, pitch the gear on her, and they go out on the track. James said, I forgot the head pull. So he watched him in the turns, and he was flying on the inside of me. We were making it on the end of the mile in 2:21, and Fox Valley Britsko was closing in on me. That was the best I've ever seen him. And I told James after, I said, we still own a ton of Fox Valley Britska. I could think of a lot worse horses than that guy. He's a nice horse. Here's a horse that was lame the whole month of December. His knees were killing him. Same with GW Chrome. We'll get to him in a second. Backed him up, and then now he's bomb-proof. His only problem was he was ignorant and stubborn and rude. None of that today. He was perfectly polite and did his work well. Very impressed with Fox Valley Britska. Not shocked with Broadway Roll. I mean, she's pretty push button. Of all the horses we have in the training center, you know, if you wanted to get anybody that was just off the street, said, you know, that had any remedial training as a trainer and said, okay, could I go with a horse? That would be the one. She is as push button as they come. She did it all today and was wrapped. Well, I shouldn't say she was wrapped up. I was chasing her down the lane because Fox Valley Britska was coming, but she wasn't getting beat. And she looked great in there. Fox Valley Britska looked great. Mama Knows Best didn't go. Cirrus Blue Chip looked much, much better. Johnny said he was good, and then I went back and watched the video again. Looked very, very good. Off-road Hanover, little flat. I'm going to go with that guy next week and cut him loose. I think he's, I don't know whether he's shy or whether he's got no self-confidence. I think he's a better horse than he seems. A much better horse than he seems, but he's got to do more work, and he's got to put his heart into it. And I think he will. I think he might just be a little immature. He is a baby, so that's quite possible. Now, a horse that made a break day that hasn't made a break in, 10 weeks? GW Chrome. I don't know what went on with him. I saw he cut himself, just touched himself on the boot after the mile, so it's pretty clear what happened. He just interfered a little bit and made a break. But nevertheless, I've been putting him in neutral. Maybe he's a little frustrated, so maybe next week we'll let GW Chrome fire up a little bit again and get him trained. So certainly no concerns. There was no lameness or soreness issues with GW Chrome. He looked great after the mile. Looked fine to me. Just put a step in and made a break today. So those are all the sets from this morning. Just an absolutely, I was going to say great day. It was a great day training. It was obviously marred, but at the same time, a pretty good day. So that is the opening. Those are all the sets that went through today. I am going to give you a couple of top 10 lists. Top 10 lists from today, top 10 list overall. We'll go with our 2-year-old list, our 3-year-olds, and then we'll get to all the stables. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might do my top 10 list before I turn in. It's about 6 o'clock at night here on Saturday. I think I'll do one more list, and then that'll be it for this evening. So for now, that's the opening. That's all that went on. Speedy recovery to Danny O'Brien. Great guy. Obviously a mistake, an accident. Not the end of the world. And Aaron also, people that rushed out to give other people a hand. It's pretty hard not to be proud of them. So get well soon. Heal up quick. And we'll be here for you. Take care.